What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kylie and Cole, episode 3 on this lovely Wednesday evening. Kylie, what jersey do you have on? I forgot to ask.
I've got the Sneed jersey on. I'm trying to see my mic's in the
Oh,
way.
she got the need for
Sneed.
Sneed. Let's go. Well, we're going to talk about Sneed because he is on the injury report, although I'm not that worried about it. But a bunch of other people are on the injury report. We're going to talk first, before that, Chiefs versus Jags thoughts. Updated injury report. We're going to talk Mahomes' new contract, the drama. Jeez Louise. Going down in Chicago. Then we're going to preview a little bit Chiefs versus Bears and a little bit more. But first,
How about the Chiefs?
let's go. Kylie, you feeling better this week? You had a cold last week, in case people listening in don't wonder why I'm asking.
I feel a lot better. So the problem with me is that like after every single game, I lose my voice from yelling at the TV. So then by like every Monday morning, I go into work and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you sick?" I'm like, "I'm not sick. There was a Chiefs game. You get it." So they start to figure it out. So it still kind of sounds like I'm sick, but no, I'm feeling a lot better. How are you doing?
You somehow accidentally transferred the cold to our house. No, I'm just kidding. It's not your fault. It's going around. Dude, it's crazy. We were sick like 3 weeks ago. Like all the kids got it, then Danny, then me. I had like a fever. A week later, everybody's sick again. Danny's in bed right now with a double ear infection. The girls were sick. I'm just like, geez Louise, I thought I was going to survive it. And then I got sick yesterday. So I'm actually doing all right, but I'm like a little like chilly. And just, I don't know. I can't think as sharp as my tiny brain normally lets me think. So it's I'm working even slower. But we good though. There's a lot going on, a lot to talk about Chiefs wide, or just Chiefs news wise and beyond. I do have a question though. You said every Monday your voice is hoarse from yelling at the TV. Are you the type that yells good and bad? Do you scream when people do like they mess up? Like, are you like, what does that look like? Are you cussing people out? You got a bad call brick, if you remember what those are. What is that like?
I would love to have a bad call break. We had one growing up. I love that you just brought that up right now because what we had, my mom used to throw it at the TV. I'd be like, "Mom," but now like 20 years later, here I am doing the exact same things my mom was doing, or still is doing, if I'm being honest. But no, I get mad and I get glad. So I'm either cheering and jumping for joy when we score a touchdown, or I am cursing at the TV and then saying, "Andy, why?" if there's a bad play call,
Okay.
or an interception. No, so it's like either way. And I'm obviously always watching with my husband. So between the two of us, like if I get loud, he gets louder and then I get louder. So it just kind of escalates from there. So it's pretty rowdy here, but we have a good time.
I used to
I know
go.
you do like, well, you do like live streams. So I guess you don't really have a chance to like yell at do you yell in your live streams? Are you like,
Oh yeah.
"No"? Okay.
Oh yeah. I went off on the no call, the no OPI on Brian Cook when he was laying face first on the field, not moving. I didn't see it at first. Then I saw the replay. You can ask people in chat right now. There's people that hang out during the games. Bro, I was unhinged. I was calling them pathetic zebras. I don't know what I was saying. But I'm normally pretty chill. Like I try to call the game. I do get excited. But before I used to call the games, I would cheer the game on, but the problem is we have two kids, right? So a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So for the last 7 years, unless it's the middle of the day, I pretty much have to watch a Chiefs game and like silently cheer because I don't want to wake the kids. During Super Bowl 54, my wife was pregnant with our youngest. She was like, our daughter was born the next week, by the way, after the Super Bowl win. It was a great week. But she was in bed, needing to sleep. She didn't feel good. And my firstborn, was sleeping, Maddie. And so I'm watching Super Bowl 54, losing my mind. And I have to do one of those, let's go. I'm like pounding my chest, sipping on Irish whiskey. Like I was like, but I had to be silent, dude. So anyway, time changes throughout the years. Before kids, I was going nuts, dude. I was running down the street, screaming at the neighbors like I didn't care. It's funny how things change.
It is. I have a dog and he's very afraid. Not at all the same to kids, by the way, but I have a dog and he's terrified of like loud noises, and he'll hide in
Mm.
the bathtub during games. I'll be
He
like, "Where'd
will?
Kimba go?" Yeah, he'll like straight up get
Oh,
into the bathtub, and we can't find him
God,
for
dude.
a little bit. Like, where did he go? Where'd he go? And we go, and I hear like a little pitter patter in the bathtub, and we find him. He's behind the shower curtain, just hanging out. So we try to keep it down for him, but it's difficult. So when football season came back around, I think he could tell. He was like, "Oh, not again! Like, here we go again."
It's kind of like when this is when I knew I had to start chilling it down, toning things down. My daughter was born; she was a baby, and I would scream at a Chiefs touchdown, and she would jump so hard and then just start crying. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. So,
No, yeah,
so
you're like, "Oh,
here we
okay,
are.
this affects other people now. Okay, I guess I should chill
Mhm.
out." But
Yeah, but
that's
here
all
we
right.
are. We probably had plenty of time to cheer and yell and do all kinds of stuff, talking Chiefs Jags. How frustrated were you? Or what was your overall thoughts and impressions, takeaways from Chiefs Jags? I know that was last week. We're going to not touch on it too long, but curious to hear your thoughts before we move on and start talking this week's news.
First of my overall thoughts, I was really impressed with the defense for a second week in a row. I thought that was really promising to see them have another impactful game. Obviously, Chris Jones being back in the picture changes things quite a bit. Not that they had a poor game the week before, but he was only in, I think, like 51% of the time or something, and made a
Mm-hmm.
huge impact in just that little bit of time. So I thought that was a really, really good, promising thing to see. The offense, I think it's been talked about a few times around, but I think there's some questions and some concerns leaving last week's game. I think we thought with Kelsey back in the mix immediately there would be this like, oh, okay, it clicked again and we're back to normal. But as we can see, he wasn't back to full strength. So, and things weren't clicking for him right away. I mean, he was still a little rusty, not being that he didn't play the week before. So I was a little discouraged by the offense. And then, of course, the penalties. I mean, I think a lot of that offensive stuff we're beating ourselves. It's the drops, it's the penalties, it's the poor playing calling, and not running the ball when I feel like we should be running the ball, and to open things up downfield. And so it's a little frustrating, but I I think the good thing about coming away from last week is that you can't being frustrated with the offense when you've got a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback and a future Hall of Fame tight end. Like they're going to get that worked out. So overall, leaving the game, I felt better because this defense is really something to be high on.
Yep. Dude, it was a crazy game. I had knots in my stomach most of it. And I think it's just because we're used to seeing the Chiefs offense score points. And then on the flip side, we're used to the Chiefs defense giving up points. Not every drive, but like especially last year in the red zone, they were one of the worst in the NFL, giving up touchdowns in the red zone. And so I'm just continuing to watch the Chiefs offense sputter. And outside of those two drives, it was the last drive before half and then the first drive of the third quarter, they scored back-to-back touchdowns. But outside of those two drives, I mean, multiple turnovers, the muffed punt, tons of punt. So Richie muffed a punt, channeled to Zenner Sky Moore. But then there was all kinds of other stuff going on. Punt. Mahomes threw a pick. Justin Watson fumbled. Kelsey threw his helmet off on top of that, which resulted in an additional 15 yards after that play. So I had knots in my stomach because I'm just not used to things working the opposite way. So that at the end of the day, it was not that like once the game was over, and in hindsight, I was like, okay, actually knowing that the defense can do what they do, it wasn't as stressful as I thought it was in my head. They only gave up 9 points, and the Chiefs could have scored really 24. I mean, they could have scored on that last drive, but out of professional courtesy, Andy Reid and company kneeled it out instead of scoring because Doug Peterson, he's part of the Andy Reid tree. They ain't trying to be disrespectful. Now, did you see the clip, though, of Travis Kelce after that last knee? He went to go shake a linebacker or defensive back's hand, and he just went like this. He just faked it and walked away. I was like, dude, what is your problem?
I actually made a comment that his mustache is getting him into trouble a little bit. I think he's got this like alter. Have you ever seen Me, Myself, and Irene? Have you ever seen that movie? It's like Jim Carrey.
Which movie?
And Me, Myself, and Irene.
No, I haven't, but I know it's a classic Jim Carrey movie.
It's a classic, and it's basically like Jim Carrey, and he's got two different personalities, and his mustache like kind of like goes up whenever he's turning into the other person. So there were a lot of jokes about that. But yeah, I just felt like this mustache keeps getting him into trouble. There was the fights during camp. There was the helmet that he threw off in the game, which, I mean, we kind of know Kelsey's got a little bit of a temper problem going back to previous seasons. But I did see that, and I was a little surprised. But here we are.
Bunch of bright spots for the defense. I mean, Trent McDuffie had the highest grade of any defensive player on the Chiefs outside of Chris Jones. And Chris Jones had like a 9. I don't even know, dude. I have to look it up. Do I still have it pulled up? No, I don't. Oh, maybe I do. I don't. He had like a 90-something grade in pass rush, talking about Chris Jones, because he did whatever he wanted whenever he wanted. But Trent McDuffie was the second highest graded defender. And then he was also the highest, he had the highest coverage grade of any defensive back on the Chiefs, like not even close. So Trent McDuffie had a great game. The defense overall balled out. I mean, the Jags were like, I don't remember the exact third downs, 3 for 14, 15 on third downs, 0 for 2 on fourth downs, 0 for 3 in the red zone. And dude, think about it. The Richie James punt, the muff, it gave the Jags the ball at like the 10. And they could not score. I mean, they put up 3, but they could not get a touchdown. There was another play. Weren't they on? I think it's this game. I just watched 2 Monday Night Football games, so they're all blurring. But I think they were one drive, the Jags were all the way up to the 1, and they got backed up due to like a tackle for loss and a couple other things happened, and it was another field goal. And they were all the way almost at the 1-yard line. I was like, this is freaking incredible. So yeah, hats off to the defense. I do think the offense is going to figure it out. You kind of hinted at that. Mahomes spoke. Did you hear any of the pressers today? Mahomes was speaking about them needing to get back in sync. And he kind of, because somebody said Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS, only had 2 targets or 2 catches last game. And Mahomes kind of said, yeah, the problem is we couldn't get momentum and establish drives. He said, when we can actually get drives established and convert and limit the mistakes, like everybody's going to get more touches and the stats are going to improve because we're not going to have to punt. I mean, basically is what he's saying. We're not going to have to punt every 4, 5 plays, or 3 plays. They had a couple 3 and outs. Yeah. So I do think if they can get that together, Andy Reid didn't seem concerned at all. He's also the head coach, but like he just said everything that's going on is fixable. You mentioned the penalties, 12 penalties for like 96 yards. Jawan Taylor was flagged 5 times. I mean, he was flagged. I saw more flags around Jawan Taylor than I do like at the circus. I mean, there were so many flags. And I think they made an intentional example of him. He's going to have to work on it and slow down and just not line up as deep. And then outside of that, I mean, there was some other penalties. One was on Mahomes for throwing the ball to Jawan Taylor on 3rd down. I mean, No.
Donovan Smith.
Donovan Smith. He threw it to Donovan Smith, and Donovan just catches it, and he's like, frick, and just gets tackled, and he's like, man. So that was hilarious. That was the first drive, wasn't it? I think it was. I was like, no. Is this how the game's going to start? I was like, no, bro. Yeah. So ugly win. But a win is a win, and the defense balled out. Feel free to weigh in on some additional thoughts, though.
I just wanted to ask you, and we might get into this later, but do you feel like there's too many cooks in the kitchen with wide receivers, and that's part of the reason that they can't get going? That they're just, no one can get into a rhythm. No one's really able to get going because as soon as they get a catch, then they're going to 5 other guys before they get a catch again. Like, it just feels like, and I think this is all maybe part of the experiment, who works where, who, what's going to work and what's not. But how do you feel about that?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit on my live stream last night. Somebody asked basically the same question, and I'll change my answer slightly. I think I'll piggyback on what Patrick said today in his presser. Part of the issue is they can't establish successful drives down the field, and it's limiting production for everybody. But second, when you've got all those receivers, yes, you kind of have a bunch of choices. But the thing is, like, for me, Kelsey's back. So Mahomes is looking to Kelsey quite a bit now. Kelsey had 9 targets, and the second most was 5. But then you have, like, Rashee Rice and Justin Ross are only out there in limited packages. Richie James, he only had 3 offensive snaps. I thought that was interesting. But he is dealing with an MCL injury, which we'll talk about here in a second. I'll pull up the injury report. But yeah, I think they're primarily running Sky. I'm trying to think. It was Sky, MVS, and Justin Watson were like the 3 main ones primarily. And I feel like those are the 3 they've really been running, which is still confusing to me. They're running all those routes, or they're all out there on all those offensive snaps, and they're still not seeing a lot of targets. So yeah, I wish I had an answer for you, but we may not have to worry about it this week because there's 3 wide receivers on the freaking injury report. So they might actually not have a choice but to play. I thought I had the Chiefs injury report. I do. But to play some of these other guys. So when you've got all these guys on the injury report, all right, let's talk receivers first since we're already there. Richie James, knee. It's an MCL injury that Andy Reid noted, and he said he's probably not going to be back right away. The rest of the guys on here are day-to-day, but even that means absolutely nothing to me when you say day-to-day. I mean, Eric Berry was day-to-day. I mean, what does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. So, in my opinion. Now, I think they're less serious, but when you have Kadarius Toney on there with a turf toe injury, did you see his foot was wrapped during the game? It got wrapped like around the second half, and he was like limping around.
No, I had
Kadarius.
I was completely shocked whenever I saw him pop up on the injury report today. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
he had his foot taped at some point in the game, and I saw one awkward play where he got tackled and he came up limping. This was after his foot was already taped up. So I'll be curious to see what it looks like with Toney. Justin Watson, ankle, but he's full participant, so I would think he plays, just like Jawan Taylor probably plays. Nick Jones has been inactive, so I don't know. But we'll talk about the rest. You have Nick Bolton, ankle issue of some sort. I think it's an ankle sprain. I don't know to what degree. Like a high ankle sprain? Like, I don't know. Willie Gay, quad contusion. Isaiah Pacheco, hamstring contusion, but Andy Reid noted it's not torn. And yeah, there's quite a bit. Jawan Taylor's on there too, but he should be fine. He's a full participant. Snead's back there limited. I feel like Snead's probably going to be limited on this injury report for the rest of time.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any concerns by seeing this report with all the new people popping up? It's early in the week still, but any concerns yet?
It's early in the week, like you said. I don't have any. I'm not too concerned, mainly considering, Travis Kelce's no longer on there, which is really helpful.
That's the best news.
Yeah, I mean, that's great news to see him back, full participant at practice. I think also when you consider who we're facing, it's also not as concerning. I mean, this has kind of been said, this is the get right game, right? This is the game that they're going to start figuring things out. This is the game where they're going to be able to put some things together because it's a weak Bears defense. So I'm not too concerned. I also think because we have 7 wide receivers, it gives some of these other guys an opportunity. We know that he's seen that Patrick Mahomes is really comfortable with Justin Watson. I would like to see that continue to grow. I think this is going to give them an opportunity to build more chemistry. MVS, similar situation. And then I'm really, really hoping that this is that game for Sky Moore, that he kind of puts it all together. We kind of saw some bright spots from him last game with the Jags. We saw him kind of get open and Mahomes was scrambling around and they kind of found a way to extend the play. I thought that was really good. So I think this is going to be a really strong game for him. At least if he's not able to get separation in this game, if he's not able to figure out these routes and figure out his positioning, then that's when I'm going to start to worry with him. But I really think that this is an opportunity, especially since Toney is possibly not going to be playing. He's someone that they've deemed wide receiver 1, even though he hasn't been getting a ton of snaps, certainly not last week or the week before. But I think it'll be okay. Long story short, I don't think it's too much of a concern. I'm more concerned about the running back position, if I'm being honest. I know we didn't get too much into that, and I'll let you go into that, but the Isaiah Pacheco thing worries me.
Yeah. let me piggyback on what you just said real quick though about Sky. I think he had a pretty good game, all things considered, last week. Mahomes showed nice trust in him. He was one-on-one in the red zone. Nice back shoulder throw. And Sky honestly played it perfectly. Great catch, touchdown, Kansas City. And I was impressed. I was like, okay, that was freaking nice. Then obviously, I think he had another catch. He might have had 3 catches. But that last one on the scramble drill to seal the game, like that was fire. So good news for Sky. That is a standout for me on the offense. And I honestly thought, since you mentioned it, we can kind of go there. I thought the performance by Isaiah Pacheco was a great one too. He really sparked off the second half, busted a 30-yard run up the right side, and I was like, okay, that was fire. But yeah, with him not 100%, we'll see. It's a bruise. He's got a bruise, but to what degree? You know, he runs so violent. I don't know. I don't know what play it happened on, and he probably doesn't either because he just hits everybody as hard as he possibly freaking can. But yeah, that's a little concerning with Pacheco. I'm not going to be... We'll get into it when we talk about the Bears. I am not overly concerned overall about the Bears, but you can't sleep on them at the same time. Like, parity in the league is real. You have to play a clean game, and we'll get there. Speaking of the Bears, let me pull this back up real quick. They only have 4 on the injury report. A couple defensive backs, Josh Blackwell, and then Eddie Jackson. Blackwell was limited with a hamstring. Eddie Jackson did not participate. Then the wide receiver Darnell Mooney limited with a knee, and offensive lineman Lucas Patrick, he's ill. He's sicker than swine flu. Don't know why I said that, but he did not participate. The big thing for me though with the Bears, let's just go there now. There's 2 things. One is their left tackle just got put on IR. So that's not a concern for me in regards to being a Chiefs fan. But if I'm a Bears fan, that's a concern. Because week 1, Justin Fields was sacked 4 times. Week 2, he was sacked 6 times. He's been sacked 10 times in 2 games. And he's a mobile quarterback as well, which is crazy to me. The fact that their left tackle is now on IR with a neck injury, they don't know if it's how long it's going to be, but he's not playing Sunday. Dude. And then you've got Chris Jones and company coming off of a 4-sack game with Trevor Lawrence. I think at least the D line, they're gonna feast like they're at a buffet. I mean, it's gonna be insane. I don't even know what to say. When Charles Omenihu gets back, I think the D line is truly gonna be one to be feared. But we got a little while for that. So that was a big concern to me, was a left tackle getting placed on IR today. And this isn't as big of a concern as I think some people think. But let's talk about, it's not funny, but let's talk about their defensive coordinator. He unexpectedly resigned today. He posted a resignation letter. At first, everybody was saying some crazy stuff. And I still think this happened. His house got raided by the FBI. He didn't travel with the team on Sunday. Whoever the Bears just played, I think it was the travel to go play the Bucs. His house got raided by the FBI. And then there were reports that they raided the Bears headquarters. That's not true. So reports came out later and said, no, nothing happened. Like the FBI didn't come to the stadium or, to the offices or anything like that. But they didn't really deny the FBI raiding the house. Now, I don't know if that's like 1,000% true, but either way, he unexpectedly put in his resignation week 2.5 into the NFL season, and he said to work on his health and well-being, basically. And my question is, well, like, are we talking mental health? Like, health is pretty vague in 2023, And so I'm not here to be super speculative on what's happening and what's going on. I saw some really crazy stuff on Twitter. I'm not going to touch on stuff that I don't know is true. That's not really how I like to roll. But the fact that he resigned, people were saying, well, the Bears defense is done. Well, Matt Eberflus, the Bears head coach, is a defensive-minded genius. Okay, so he's a defensive-minded head coach. I still think they're going to be fine. to some extent on the defense, even though as a whole the defense isn't doing the best. But I think it's going to be a distraction, in my opinion, if anything. Think of the situation with what happened with Britt Reed the week of the Super Bowl. Different circumstances. We don't even know what's going on with, the former Bears DC, but like it's a huge distraction. So the players are either going to go in and with the chip on their shoulder and respond, or it's just one distraction of many as they're 0-2. They're struggling to find their identity and trying to get things figured out. Their defensive coordinator unexpectedly resigned. It's awful over there in Chicago. It's not much better since Nagy got fired. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on some of that? I know I just rambled on for like 3 minutes straight, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
No, you're good. It felt like the sky was falling today for Bears fans. I felt like it was, when it rains, it pours, because the day started off with the Justin Fields interview and him blaming the coaches and whatnot. And that was just kind of a bad look for not only Justin Fields, but obviously the coaching staff, the rest of the team, the organization. That's not what you want your franchise QB, the guy that you've just decided by trading away your first round pick last year, he's going to be your franchise QB. That's not really what you want him saying. So I thought that was a little alarming. And then right after that's when all this other news starts coming out. So it just felt like it was a rough day for Bears fans. I'm not going to speculate, to your point. I've seen a lot of different rumors going around. I don't know what's real and I don't know what's not. I think it's anytime you make a coaching change midseason, though, it's going to be a distraction. Even if Matt Eberflus is a defensive-minded genius, I still think it, like to your point, it's going to be a distraction. Not only that, but he was the defensive coordinator last game as well, right, against the Bucs, and they still couldn't stop Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. So Patrick Mahomes is a little better than Baker Mayfield, I think, safe to say. So I think that's a little concerning, and I think that the Chiefs are just getting started and warming up. I don't think that you can sleep on the Bears by any means. I don't think that in this league, I mean, any given Sunday, it's a real thing. Like, even if we go in and we seem to have the more talented roster, we're at home, there's all of this darkness and this big dark cloud surrounding the Bears. I mean, you just can't, it's the NFL. It takes a lot to get there. These guys are really talented. And at the end of the day, anything can happen. So hopefully we don't sleep on them. Hopefully the guys are prepared. I think that they will be. But to your point, I do think this is a distraction for the Bears. Not only is that the distraction, but the Justin Fields comments are alarming. And it just makes me wonder, what's the message in the locker room right now if he's blaming coaches?
Yeah, I saw that too. And then he clarified later. But he's struggling, man. He had three rushing yards against the Bucs, which I thought was crazy for him being a mobile quarterback. But he was sacked 6 times. I think he actually had more rushing yards, but sacks were working against him there. But geez Louise. With all that being said, though, if there's Bears fans in here, like I still don't think the Chiefs can just sleepwalk into Arrowhead and win this game. They can't turn the ball. I mean, I understand they beat the Jags. I mean, pretty convincingly, all things considered, even though they had 3 turnovers. Okay, but you can't do that in the NFL. If the Bears do a few things right in comparison to last game and make a few more plays than Kansas City, you could be in the danger zone. Now, you'll see when I hit my prediction at the end of the night, maybe I don't think it's going to be that close. However, there's always ways that teams can lessen the, what do I want to say? It's escaping me. Maybe it's because I'm sick. But just, let's say if the Chiefs are going to win by a mile, the Chiefs can trip and stumble, and the Bears can keep trucking along. So, I mean, it can get close, but the Chiefs are going to have to limit their mistakes. I still don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a Chiefs dub at the end of the day. But think about this. We were all talking last year. It was early in the season against the Colts. Everybody predicted the Chiefs to win. I mean, it was not even going to be close. The Chiefs imploded. Sky Moore muffed, I think, more than one punt that game, at least one in the red zone. He muffed 2 that game. I know he muffed one in the red zone that gave the Colts like their only touchdown until the end of the game. And then at the end of that, Matt Ryan got called a mean word. He got called a mean word by Chris Jones and got flagged. And Anyway, I'm saying all that to say the Chiefs should not have lost that game, but they blew it. So they got to be really careful against the Bears as well.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point, a lot of the times that the offense has stalled has been self-inflicted. I mean, it's been the penalties, the false starts, the the illegal or the ineligible receiver. I mean, that was, you can't do that. He knows he couldn't do that.
That was hilarious.
It's the ball. I mean, the ball security has got to be better. I want to ask you this, and I want to get your opinion on this. I feel like ball security's been pretty rough the last 2 games. I don't feel like I need to get more into that. It's pretty obvious. Do you feel like, and personally, I feel like Eric Bieniemy, and I'm not going to say that we are missing Eric Bieniemy by any means, but I do feel like there was a level of accountability that he brought and a level of focus maybe that he brought, an intensity that he brought that maybe helped with the ball control. And I just wonder if that's something that we're missing. I don't know. We know he wasn't calling the plays. Everybody's been said that that's Andy. I don't think that's where we're really missing him. I just wonder, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think EB was well respected here, and he's a hard-nosed guy. So he ain't gonna beat around the bush. If you mess up, he'll let you know that you messed up with quite possibly a few expletives in the same sentence, which, some people don't like that. Obviously, freaking what's his name, Shady McCoy. I mean, that guy was as a pampered toddler. He did not like getting yelled at and told what to do. Might need counseling and therapy. I don't know. But some players respond really well to it. I know when EB first got to Commanders, they had players going to Ron Rivera saying, "Hey man, he's yelling at me," and they had to shut down some of that stuff. So, yeah, I think there is an element of just blunt directness gone with EB. I also saw some graphic recently. I don't know if you saw it. It was today floating around about how much better the Commanders' offense is. Oh, it says right here. They called it the Eric Bieniemy effect. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. It feels a little soon, but yeah, I did see that.
It's a bait. It's one of those posts. It's a bait post. Like, that GIF that goes, that's bait. That's bait. This is a bait post, dude. Scoring
Look at the
offense.
Picture.
Yeah.
The picture of Patrick Mahomes on the other one. Sorry, that's gone me.
I will say this. I know we're tangenting about EB, but I'm happy for EB and the Commanders. I love that. Love to see it. I am not ready 2 weeks in to say the Chiefs' offensive struggles are because EB is not there on the side. Like somebody said, there's no way Tony drops a pass at the end of the game. If EB was on the sideline, he would have yelled at him and he never would have dropped another pass. I'm like, dude, I don't know that you can say that. If the Chiefs doesn't have these struggles, they didn't drop these passes, have these turnovers, we're talking about the offense not being tied for 22nd. They would be in the top 10, even though they've been sputtering. But I don't know. I think it's a little bit early. Much respect to EB. I just personally think it's a little bit early to go too crazy either way. Mm-hmm. I've already seen fire Nagy. I'm like, it's freaking week 2 and Andy Reid calls the play. Fire your face if you say that. It's 2 weeks in. I mean, well, no, and it's crazy. Go ahead.
I don't, and I just want to be clear. This is not that in no way was a knock at Matt Nagy. I actually really like Matt Nagy. It's just and I respect to EB. It is way too soon to be saying fire Nagy or we need EB back or anything like that. Just a thought. Just because I think to your point, he runs things a little differently. So I just wonder if that intensity is not there right now. But no disrespect.
I think it's missed. I think some of that is missed for sure. Yeah, 100%. What do you think? We kind of skipped over this. Let's touch on it briefly, and then we'll jump back in and go more preview Chiefs and Bears. But Mahomes got paid. We skipped over that with everything else we were talking about. Basically, the end of his deal, the money he was going to make got pushed up into the next 4 years. Were you surprised by that? What were your thoughts? I've already given my thoughts on this channel 15 different times, so I'd love to get your brief thoughts on the contract, restructure. I call it a pay raise. Some people don't like that I say that. Mahomes in his presser today said pay bump, so maybe they like if I say pay bump. It's literally they just gave him a big raise, and they're going to renegotiate the contract in 2026, 2027, and they'll talk it all over again. I'd love to hear your thoughts, though.
I was all for it. I mean, I'll say I was surprised at the timing because I really thought this was something they would revisit after the season. I was shocked that it happened when it did, but I am all for it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the guy you want to keep happy. I don't feel like he's asking for I mean, it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but I don't know what happens in that room, but I feel like he's been very clear about saying, I don't want to be, I don't need all the money. I want to make sure I've got the guys around me. I've got the talent around me, and I want to win. And I think that that's really something you want to hear from your franchise QB. You don't want him going after all the money to get the biggest payday, but I think they did right by him. And I think it's really important to keep him happy. Like if there's one guy in your team that you're going to keep happy, it needs to be Patrick Mahomes. And also I think a lot of people were saying, I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, this means that they shortened his deal. No, that's not what this means. They didn't shorten his deal. I believe he still goes through 2031, if I'm correct. And they just are going to they just moved money forward, to my understanding. And so he's got more money now, and then they'll revisit it in, like you said, 2026. So I'm all for it. And I think it opened up a bunch of cap space for next year. And I think obviously, if you saw the presser today with Mahomes, they asked him, do you look at future years when you're talking about your contract negotiations? And he said, yeah, of course, I'm looking at future years. I want to make sure that I'm doing right by not only me, but by the organization. So I was all for it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know how much cap space it opens next year. I can't honestly remember. Maybe you know off your top of your head. I know it opened up $2.5 million this year, gave a little bit of breathing room. But either way, it moves Mahomes. He's like, I think on average now, second highest paid QB, just under Joe Burrow, which is fine. I mean, it's fine. They gave him the raise, and he also said something interesting. He said something along the lines of, he didn't want to hold back others that deserve to get paid because he was pretty far down on the list. So that was an interesting thing to think about. He said he didn't want to hold back just the market. He didn't want to hold back the market for others, which I was like, that's interesting to think about. Because think about this. I mean, Mahomes was the 8th highest paid quarterback. You had freaking Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, among others that are good QBs, but not Patrick Mahomes, making more on average than he was. And so if he didn't fix the issue, remedy the situation, get the pay bump, other QBs moving forward be like, well, I want, based on the market, this much money. Teams could literally be like, well, Mahomes isn't making that much money. We're not paying you that. Well, they can't do that now. And it's a little bit more, I guess, fair for the market. So that's fine. I'll just be curious to see how it works out moving on in the future. Guys, definitely see your super chats. Appreciate y'all. Just so you know, the way we do this show, we'll answer all the super chats within the last 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll definitely get there. But appreciate y'all for sure. Yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts, though, Kylie, on the contract situation before we talk Bears. Which side of the field you want to go first? You want to talk Chiefs? We've kind of talked about it, and then we backed up and are going again. You want to talk Chiefs Bears defense? You want to go there?
Yeah, we'll talk Chiefs offense first.
Okay.
So I think we kind of touched on it, like you said, when we brought up the injury report and we were talking about what this would mean for them. I just really need to see consistency. Obviously, we need to see better ball security and less penalties. I think it's kind of like a catch-22. It's like, well, we can't get in a rhythm if we can't get downfield, but then we can't if we can't complete the throws down the field, but then we can't complete throws down the field if we're fall starting all the time. But then and then we're not running the ball, then we can't get going with the pass. So it's like all these little things and that they need to kind of focus on and hone in on. And I mean, we're never going to be a run first offense. That's never going to be how this is. I'm not asking us to run the ball, even 40% of the time, but I think they ran it twice in the first half last game. And I think I just need to see it a little bit more than that so that they can respect the run a little bit more and then open up the pass down the field. So and that's why, I was concerned about the Pacheco injury because that limits us in the run game. If you just have Clyde, who, in my opinion, his vision's not as great as Pacheco's, so that's going to be a little stunted. And then McKinnon, who we use a little bit more in the screen game, it just kind of limits us. So it'll be interesting to see if they bring up P. Ryan. I personally would be fine to see them bring up P. Ryan. Additionally, like I said earlier, I would love to see more from Sky Moore. I would love to see him kind of have that breakout game and build on what they did last week. I think that they can do that. And then I don't think they're going to play Kelsey too much unless we get, I mean, he'll be out there, but I think they kind of work him back in slowly unless we get into a bind where we like really need to get some points and our offense starts to sputter again. So that's kind of where I'm at. I expect a big game from Sky Moore. I think Patrick Mahomes, if you saw him in his presser today, he seems dialed in. It was the second time in a row I've seen him in a presser where he's not happy, even though he did just get paid. He's not happy with the offense. He's not happy with the state of how he's played. If you look at how he's played, I think he's had like 64 completion rate right now, if I'm correct, over the last 2 games. And I think he likes to live a little higher than that. We all know that he has a really high standard for himself. So, yeah, I think they just need to focus, and I think they're going to be okay. I think this game is a really good opportunity for them to get right.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'm curious to see is with Travis Kelce coming off the injury report, I wonder if he might just almost be given full reins of the offense. But if they pull up quite a bit ahead in points, I could easily then see them easing off on Kelce. It's interesting to think, like, even though Kelce was coming off an injury, he still played quite a bit of snaps. I don't know if you saw how many snaps he played, but it was higher than I thought it was going to be. He played quite a bit. A couple things about the Bears defense, like they have allowed 32.5 points per game, second worst in the NFL, 29th in yards allowed. So they are struggling, and this is a good opportunity for a Chiefs offense who is struggling a little bit, if we're going to be honest, to kind of get some of their swagger back, to kind of get some of their confidence back. And I think they'll come in with a good gameplay. Or a game plan, rather. I'll be curious just to see how these injuries pan out. Like, if Richie James isn't a go, who's returning punts? Is it Kadarius Toney? Well, he's got a turf toe. So is it Justin Watson? Well, he's on there with an ankle, but I think he's going to go. Somebody was saying, well, it's probably going to be Sky Moore. I was like, I would think it's going to be Justin Watson unless he's not good to go. If he's not, Sky can do it. I will be so nervous. It's not even funny. So yeah, I'll be curious about that. I mean, you know, there's some good guys on the Bears defense. I mean, one of their acquisitions or pickups, Yannick Ngakoue, he back. So, you know, they got a couple guys there, but here's the thing for me. I think Patrick Mahomes and company at home at Arrowhead, frustrated, been working on the game plan. Kelsey's back. He's off the injury report. They're meshing together as an O-line. I think they're going to come in. They're going to put some points up. I think they're going to be able to get the job done offensively. And on top of that, I do think the defense is going to do a great job as well against a Bears offense that really has no identity. Let me read a couple of stats for you and get your thoughts. So, Justin Fields, week 1, just over 200 yards, a touchdown, a nasty interception, sacked 4 times. Last week, 200 yards approximately, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, sacked 6 times. Mobile QB, sure, but he ran for 3 yards last game. Now, he's currently the 23rd best quarterback on power rankings out of 32, which is a bit rough. 31st in points scored is what their offense is ranked right now, and they've averaged only 18.5 points a game. Now, when I say they average 18.5 points a game, you think that's somewhat bad, right? That's not great.
It's not great, but we scored 17 last week, so...
Well, I was going to say, but the Chiefs have also averaged 18.5 points per game, which is so mind-blowing to think about. However, they could have scored a touchdown on the last drive. So I don't really look at that stat and be like, oh, the Chiefs offense. They could have put up 24 last game. So that would have been closer to an average of 22 points a game if they would have got that last touchdown. In spite of the Chiefs' offensive struggles, though, I got a couple more for you. Mahomes is still tied for 3rd in TD passes with 4, and 4th overall in QB rushing yards with 75. And after 2 weeks of sputtering on offense and us being all frustrated, Patrick Mahomes is still the 2nd highest graded quarterback and has the highest run grade of any quarterback in the league per PFF. Is that surprising to you? That's crazy to me.
It's surprising, but I think no, it's amazing. I think it surprises us because we're used to a more efficient. I say more efficient. You read those stats and it's like, how could we we're doing okay. But I think what's the word I'm looking for? Finesse, maybe, or polished. Like, I just feel like our offense hasn't been very polished. So obviously when you read those stats, they're still doing well. So good. Once we do polish things up, and we still have our defense moving on the cylinders that they're moving on, wow. Can you imagine what this team can do if both sides of the ball start flowing? So that's really, I feel like more people need to be reminded of that. Maybe we're just too used to how the offense was last year and how the offense has been in previous seasons. But slow start this year, but obviously not as slow as we thought.
Yeah, it's been rough, but Mahomes, it's really not on Mahomes. Is like when you look at his grades, it's not really on Mahomes. I mean, yeah, sure, he was off on some of his throws, but he can't catch it for him. I mean, he can't catch it for him.
I also wonder. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. I
also
wonder. There seems to be a lack of trust with him in some of these receivers. I think we talked about Justin Watson earlier, and that he seems to be getting a lot of targets from Mahomes. Mahomes seems to really trust him. So I would like to see more there. But I think if you look at the rest of the receivers, I just don't know that he's fully there yet, which is so mind-blowing to me. When we talked all offseason about how they worked out together all offseason, they went down to Texas, like they were building this chemistry. They were going to start off really, really strong. And then here I feel like they're starting to get into the motions and starting to get the hang of things, but it's taking a little longer than I certainly expected.
Yeah, Mahomes is definitely frustrated by it. He wasn't frustrated in his presser, but you can just tell, we need to do better. I need to do better. And he expects more of the team. I mean, from everybody. So, yeah, he's not used to it. They've been the high-powered gunslinging offense since 2018. Highest scoring offense over the last 5 years. Top 3 in basically every offensive category. And it's a small sample size, which is why even this early talking Bears, we can't just look at these stats and be like, well, that's exactly how it's going to play out because it's only been 2 games. But I think the Chiefs, I am hopeful the Chiefs will put something together. I mean, here's my thing. If they don't put something together offensively that somewhat is impressive against a team that is really struggling on defense, allowing 32.5 points per game, second worst in the NFL, 29th in yards allowed. If the Chiefs offense can't put something together, I will then be a bit more concerned. This is going to be one of the worst defenses you play so far. Again, small sample size, but this is a bad defense right now. They don't know. They're trying to figure it out. Okay. And on top of that, their DC is gone. He's gone with the wind, bullseye. So he's gone. So if the Chiefs don't put up, I don't know, at least multiple successful drives ending in touchdowns, that's a little cause for concern. I'll take a win however we can get it. And I'm fine with that. But against this team, specifically on defense, the Chiefs got to come out and put up some points. I mean, I don't know. If they don't, I don't know. I just don't know. I might cry.
Well, don't cry now. Don't cry yet, because we also know that Andy Reid likes to play him close. He likes to not show his hand too much. So while I do think they're still figuring things out, I also wouldn't be shocked if we somehow just squeak by a touchdown. Now, I do think this is a get right game. I don't think that's what will happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if Andy Reid went in and was just kept it real conservative. So we'll see, but don't cry. It's gonna be okay.
Okay, I won't cry.
We're gonna
switch sides. You want to switch sides real quick about you want to talk Chiefs defense?
Yeah, they're exciting to talk about right now. They're just so electric. I mean,
I think the D line's I think Fields is gonna get sacked at least 3 times. I mean, he's a mobile QB. Somebody said, and we can get here, but Sean mentioned this in a super chat. It's totally related to what we're going to talk about. Well, he said, how'd your brunch game work out? So we could talk about that at the end. Thanks for the 10, Sean. But then he said, I realize the Bears are a dumpster fire, but should we be worried a bit more about a mobile QB and lane gap integrity? Spags has had problems versus Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, etc. Are you concerned? I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and then we could share any concerns there with
I'm not.
Fields being a mobile QB.
Yeah, I don't think I'm as concerned as I was last season by any means. When you think about what they've done with our linebacking core, first of all, I just want to say is incredibly strong this year. When you see what Nick Bolton's doing, when you see what Leo Chenal's been able to do when he's been in there, I love that they've been using him more. Drew Tranquil has been awesome. They've continued to use him a little bit more. I think the tackling overall has gotten better, and they're just so much quicker. I'm also, I have to say, and I just going to go on the record, I was very critical of Derek Nottie going all summer long, going into the season. I honestly thought he was not. He's playing out. It's almost like he heard me say something and he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna show her," which is fine because he's playing out of his mind. And then Mike Dana. I mean, I know it's a contract year for him, but it's amazing. He's done amazing. And then George Karlaftis. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about the D-line. And that's without me even speaking about Chris Jones. So you've got the D-line, the linebackers that are playing well. They're all super athletic, super quick. I love the way that Spags has been able to bring the blitz. He's disguising the blitz like he does so well. He's been able to bring pressure. We're getting pressure with 4, which is really, really important when you think about what that means for our secondary and how they're able to get better coverage because of that. Yeah, I could go on and on about this defense. I'll let you kind of chime in now and let me know what you think.
I mean, a minor concern about Fields and his mobility. He basically said he's going to trust his instincts more and scramble more. He said that today in his presser, which is fine. But I need to see the health updates on Nick Bolton and Willie Gay. If they're both not 100%, that's not good. I mean, I understand we have Chanel, we have Tranquil. There's an interesting thing I saw about Chanel as well. Did you see this from Ron Kopp Jr. of Arrowhead Pride? Per PFF, Leo Chanel had 8 snaps as a pass rusher Sunday. Most he's ever had in a game. He tallied 4 pressures, all hurries in those 8 snaps, which is actually incredible. I love that. There's some interesting, creative things that the Chiefs can definitely be doing. But I need to see the health of the linebackers. I'm not concerned that the Bears are going to put up a bunch of points by any means, but having some of those guys out, I don't know that we just don't know their status yet. We don't know how bad Nick Bolton's ankle is. We're not sure how bad Willie Gay's quad is. They both didn't participate today. So I need to see that. But yeah, overall, not concerned. Arrowhead is going to be insanely loud. I think the Bears are under a lot of pressure, and I think the defense is going to get it done. Spags is going to go in there. They've already, again, Justin Fields has been sacked 10 times, and now their left tackle is on IR. Dude, put Chris Jones on the freaking right side if you want. You see that clip from Nick Bolton? Did you see the trailer for the franchise episode that drops tomorrow night? Did you see that on Twitter?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's short.
No, I have to go look. Okay.
There might be more to it, but the one clip I saw, Nick Bolton literally said, "Hey, Chris, line up wherever you want. Find your matchup." Sometimes when Chris Jones was out there, they were just letting him line up where he wanted and then filling in the gap. Which is incredible. He was against the rookie a lot, Anton Harrison, the right tackle. But I think they're gonna get home. They're gonna get home quite a bit. Now you can't sleep completely. Like, they got DJ Moore, they got Chase Claypool. They have you can't sleep on their running back. But I think this game the Chiefs are gonna walk away winning by at least 10 points. It's not gonna be close.
I hope you're right, because I can't do the close games. I can't do them anymore. Andy, if you're listening, we need you to win by more than 10.
I say that and then watch it be a 1-score game. But, it shouldn't be close. Not really. If the Chiefs limit their mistakes, Mahomes comes out firing, the defense just keeps playing even at 80% of what they've been playing. They held the Jags to 9 and the Lions to 14. Fields is not Goff. He's not Lawrence. They don't have those kind of weapons. And I know what some people in chat are saying, well, the Chiefs gave up 21 to the Lions. Well, a touchdown was a pick six gifted, bow tie wrapped under a Christmas tree from Kadarius Toney's drop. So they gave up 14 to the Lions and 9 to the Jags. I'm just going to say it. I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going to say 24-13 Chiefs. Not as high as we would. 13. Yeah, not as high as we would normally think the Chiefs would score, even against a defense like this. But dude, even if they score into the mid-20s, I'll be happy. And I think when I say 13, I'm thinking like maybe the Bears get a touchdown and a couple of field goals. That's what I'm rolling with.
I like 24 for the Chiefs. I think that's a good number, but I think I'm gonna go 24-10. Yeah. I'm gonna go 24-10.
All right.
I think they get a touchdown and a field goal. You mentioned DJ Moore. That's obviously someone that they're gonna have to figure out a way to lock down. They've got Cole Kmet, the tight end. He didn't really do much. I think he had like 26 yards last week, again against the Bucks. To your point, we held the Lions to 21. I think they put up 30-something last week. The Jags put up 31, I think, the week prior to them playing us. So both offenses that are capable of scoring, and our defense locked them down. So granted, we still lost to the Lions, but our defense showed up. Like you said, that was off a pick six. We might as well have bow tied it, wrapped it, put their name on it, and said, here you go, because that's what happened. So I think 24-10. I think Andy's going to try and prove a point. I know I said he likes to keep games close, and he sometimes does because he doesn't want to show his cards. But I think if we get off to an early start, we'll see them kind of pump the brakes later in the fourth quarter. I think, 24-10. Let's go with it.
Here's a question for you. Does Blaine Gabbert make an appearance in the fourth quarter? Does he make his first appearance as a Chief in the fourth quarter? Because the Chiefs are doing well enough that they take Mahomes out maybe the last series or two.
I mean,
you gonna say no?
I'm gonna say no, only
all right,
because I think this offense really needs to figure it out and get into a rhythm and try and score some points. So even if we are up by a high score, like what do you think we have to be up by, like 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns for that to happen?
Yeah, I think if they're up by at least 14 with 5-6 minutes left in the fourth, you could see him pulled. I don't know that that's going to happen. I was just curious to get your thoughts there. Who are you going to watch on both sides of the ball? A player to watch for you for the Chiefs.
Okay, on the defense, I am going to watch Mike Dana. Last week I watched George Karlaftis. I'm still always watching George Karlaftis. I am might as well be the conductor of that train at this point. I am so high on George Karlaftis, but Mike Dana's really been making a case for himself. He's done incredibly well the last couple of weeks. I'm excited to see what they do with him and what he does against, like you said, a diminished offensive line with the Bears. And then on offense, I'm going to watch Justin Watson this week. If he plays, I think he will. I know he's on the injury report. I really think like I said, Mahomes really trusts him and continues to go back to him. So I think it's really important for them to really get in their groove. And anytime they do seem to find a connection, it's a big explosive play. So I'm really hoping for that. So I'm going to say Justin Watson.
All right. I like that. I'm going to go Rashee Rice. I think it's Rice season this Sunday. Not that I'm not even going to say he's going to lead the room in yards or anything like that, but just with the room banged up a little bit, like Richie James, he might be out for weeks. They might even put him on short-term IR depending on what's going on with the MCL. If it's a sprain, it might take a few weeks. So he is already showing promise to me more so than a lot of guys. I mean, as far as what was expected, I feel like the expectations of Rashee Rice as a rookie, he's already exceeded those and shown, in my opinion, he needs more snaps. He needs more opportunities. I go back to week 1 against the Lions, the touchdown pass. He should have ran down the backside of the end zone on a crosser. He saw the coverage was bunched up and he switched directions and just found an opening. He didn't cross at all. He just was doing jumping jacks wide open and Mahomes hit him. I think he's earned opportunities to get a little bit more looks. So I'm going to go Rashee Rice on the offense. Defense, F it. Chris Jones. I want him to get 4 sacks. I want him to get Defensive Player of the Year. Like, I want this guy to ball out every single game. If he doesn't get a huge deal with the Chiefs in the offseason, I want him to get a huge deal somewhere. I think he's that good of a player. Will he be the guy to get 4 sacks? I don't know. A Chris Jones double or triple team will open up a sack for Noddy or Karlaftis or somebody else. But I'm going to go Chris Jones. And then in the secondary, I'm going to go Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's been playing really well.
Dude, he's a dog, man. He spoke to the media today. I love that guy. Let's look at some of these super chats before we get out of here. We answered Sean's part 1, but you didn't share how your brunch game worked out, because you had brunch, I think, last game because it was a noon game. Mm-hmm.
It was a noon game, so I was up at like 8 a.m. and real quick. So I watched that Colorado State game the night before, which went to like 1 a.m. And then I was like, the Chiefs play so like noon games. I'm not great at being up early on Sundays. So that was rough for me, but I got up early. I got up around 8:30, I had a breakfast casserole. I had cinnamon rolls, donuts, bacon.
Louise, you had everything.
Oh my gosh, I am a little excessive. Like, I'm always like, is this enough food? And my husband's like, to feed an army, like, yeah, sure. I think we're, and then of course we had like donuts and cinnamon. We still have cinnamon rolls that probably need to be thrown away. So it went really well. Thank you for asking. It was fun to do a brunch game. Obviously we had mimosas because we won't do many of them since the Chiefs have a later game. So it was fun to change it up for that bit. So thank you for asking and remembering, Sean. I really appreciate that.
Let's go. Dude, I don't even know what we had. What did we have? I ate like nothing. And then drank Tank 7. So we're good though. I had dinner.
Always a good idea to just
I ate food. I had like eggs. I think I had eggs and bacon, and then you have 808 with the 2-bomb. Hey Cole, how you doing? Let's get a win week 3. Let's go, man. Let's go. And then New Punk Rants. He became a member today. Let's freaking go tier. And I don't have his comment pulled up, but he said something along the lines of, me and you are a couple of the favorite Chiefs people to watch and listen to, and he really enjoys the show. So I thought that was really cool. Wanted to shout him out and say thanks for that. And then, I can never say this name right ever, but he said, Moish, I don't know how to say it, Moishi? Moisha, Herzel, he's a But they said, hey Cole, hey Kylie, my favorite Chiefs duo, just saying hi. Thanks so much for the 5. Appreciate you as always. Josh with the 5 said, the Bears and Jets are both dumpster fires, and these next 2 weeks should get the mojo going. The wide receivers should get going right now. Thoughts? Yeah, Josh, I kind of covered it later, but I said if they can't get going against the defense like the Bears that's struggling, doesn't know their identity yet, I don't know what to say if they can't get it going, especially against the Bears. The Jets, on the other hand, their defense is like freaking, it's the real deal. If you say the Jets are a dumpster fire, it's not because of the defense. I mean, not really, unless there's injuries stacking up that I'm just unaware of. There's not a lot. So you're talking they're going to struggle offensively because Zach Wilson can't the broadside of a barn with a clean pocket and no pressure. Like he's not that guy. He likes. Never mind. I was going to say he likes moms, but then I said never mind. Then I just said it. So that's all we got. Like he likes moms and he can't really ball. So the Jets are a different story defensively, in my opinion. You agree?
They totally are. Yeah, I know we'll get into it more next week, but they're definitely a different animal. Their secondary is no joke. And honestly, I feel like they're just a QB away. So it's really upsetting that what happened to Aaron Rodgers happened. Nobody wants to see that. Really sucks bad for them. And it sucks for the league. I mean, I know I was looking forward to seeing that team, see what they were going to do this year. So yeah.
I wanted to see Mahomes and Rodgers. That's what I wanted to see.
Same. Finally, it's going to finally happen. But, I guess that's never going to happen. I don't know.
No. Well, maybe. If Rodgers did return next year and they faced off in the playoffs, maybe.
Yeah.
Race fan with the 10. Race fan, what's up, man? Did they ever say how much of a signing bonus or roster bonus Mahomes' new contract is? Yeah, they did. I can pull it up. $20.57 million signing bonus. I don't know about the roster bonus off the top of my head, but he basically gets, I think, this now, and then I think just as much after the season. I think it's like 40 something, but it's broken up into two halves. I just watched what you guys really want to do if you want to nerd out. If you want to nerd out with contract stuff, you need to go to Matt Derrick's YouTube channel, Chiefs Digest. He just had an hour-long live stream last night, and he literally broke down the contract the entire, like, for 40 minutes. So let me show you right here, chiefsdigest.com. I will spam the link to this in the chat. You guys, if you want to go somewhere after this, and if you're really interested in Mahomes' contract and like you want it broken down, he pulls up over the cap, spot track, and kind of goes line by line over everything. And Matt Derrick, man, he's smart as a whip. I would also love to see if we can get him to 1,000 subs. He's at 792. He said he would love to get to 1,000 so he can start making a little bit of money on the channel. He said that last night. He's at 792. We have 500 Chiefs fans in here. Would love it if you could go over there and hit the sub button. Get this guy to 1,000. I think he's going to be live streaming at least once a week. And he's going to be putting out more content on a regular basis. Support Matt, man. He's a beat reporter for the Chiefs and does really good work. He's been putting in the work for a long time. But if you want to specifically watch a video about the contract, there it is. I just linked it in the comments. And the last one we got, John Edwards, the first ever super chat on the channel with a 20 Canadian A. Let's go. I want to see more Noah Gray. I love our defense like Kylie loves ketchup. You love ketchup?
I love ketchup so much.
More than Mahomes?
Here's the
you love ketchup more than Mahomes loves ketchup? Or do you put ketchup on your steak?
Yeah.
Please say no.
No, I don't put it on my steak, but I put it on pretty much everything. And well, when I do put it on something, it's like the whole bottle. Like I have to it's an excessive amount. But I will say, and this is not an advertisement, but I'm like I'm a stickler. Like it has to be Heinz. Like I can't have any other brand of ketchup other than Heinz. And I do love ketchup though. Long story short, big fan of ketchup. That's so funny.
I love ketchup too, but I ain't putting it on steak. That's my whole thing. Like I like ketchup, it's cool. I'll put it on burgers, put it on fries, like kind of good with whatever. But I'm not putting it on my steak, dude. A steak needs nothing. Salt, pepper, when you cook it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's my whole
thing. If the
thing.
steak is cooked, exactly. If it's cooked correctly, you don't need anything. But I do like steak sauce once in a while.
But heck yeah, John. I mean, more Noah Gray. He had a huge play. We didn't even talk about it. Mm-hmm. We didn't have time, but he had a huge play. 3rd and 14. Caught that pass from Mahomes, broke multiple tackles, and got it to 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. And that was one of the two. Did the Chiefs go for it twice on 4th? They had a couple really short conversions. Yes. At least one 4th down. I think 2. They were 2 for 2. Yeah, because one was the flip to CEH as he skirted out of the backfield and Mahomes just bloop. The other one was Isaiah Pacheco kind of lining up, offsetting like a fullback and running up the middle, or like an offset kind of counter looking run. So yeah, I want to see more Noah Gray as well. I just don't want to see him do a Noah Gray sneak on 4th and 1 or a Blake Bell sneak on 4th and 1.
Please no.
All right, so the game's at 3:30. You're not going to the game, are you?
I am 50-50 right now.
Oh, so you might be going.
I need to figure. I might be at the game, guys. I might be at the game. I will let everyone know what I decide because I'll either be making another big spread of something here at home or I'll be at the game. So We're on the fence right now. We're on the fence. I'll have to decide soon.
Is Nick gonna go if you go?
Yes,
You're gonna go with Nick?
Nick's my husband. He will be
Yep.
with me. Yeah. Yeah. So we're both trying to decide. Our anniversary is the following weekend and we're going on vacation. So we're just trying to figure out money and like, you know how it is, like priorities, and we want to do everything, but you know, we can't do everything. So that's kind of where we're at. But we would like to go. There's a lot of other games in the season we're kind of looking at too. So I think we're just kind of playing it by ear right now. Tickets are crazy right now too. It's no joke to see the Chiefs.
People keep asking if I'm going to go to a game. I definitely want to. I don't know when. I had an offer to go to the Bills game. I may go to that one. I'm not sure yet. A little bit depends on my health and stuff. But if I think I could go and stand and walk around as much as I have to for like 10 hours, I'll do it. That's just the question for me. If I could get into a suite,
there you go.
I'll probably go. I won't lie. I went to the Royals game with Mac Lethal and we chilled in a suite. That was a whole different experience. I was so spoiled. I was like, this is freaking crazy. I've never experienced a suite life ever. And I was like, this is unreal. The fridge was full of beer. They had food. It was air conditioned. And I had like a comfy seat. I was like, this is insane. Obviously, that's not why you go to a game, guys. So I'll definitely go to a game regardless of a suite. But I've been to multiple Chiefs games where I was so cold. I had 80,000 layers on and froze to death anyway. So it's just a whole new experience.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, Race Fan said, Cole, has Kylie see? Well, he said belly. And I was like, why would Kylie see the belly? But he meant belt. You want to see this?
Show the belt real quick so let's see it.
Oh, and then we'll get out of here.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I opened it on stream last night. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, is this thing going to be lame? It was kind of expensive. I was like, what's it going to be like? Dude, this thing is freaking nuts. I know you saw the photo. It is crazy. It is so crazy. Let me go full screen for the first time today.
Full screen. Let's see the. Oh, my goodness. Amazing.
I'm not playing the Stone Cold music, guys, because it'll get demonetized right at the end of the stream. Oh, shoot. Other way.
It's upside down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you just going to wear it around the house all the time?
I'm just going to wear it on my head like a headband. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to hang it up. I'm going to put it up on the back wall. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I couldn't believe it. I was
incredible.
like, this is freaking crazy. This is so crazy. Anyway, we've gone an hour and 15 minutes, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Still have 425 in here. Every Wednesday, me and Kylie are going to be doing an hour-ish long show, and we'll take the last 10-ish minutes, 15 minutes like we did to answer some questions from Super Chats and kind of hang out with you guys. Appreciate you guys being in here. Everybody tell Kylie thank you. And if you haven't already, if you're on the app known as X, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it these days, that's the primary social you use for Chief stuff, yeah?
Correct. I'm always.
Yeah, make sure to follow
posting,
Kylie.
yeah.
Make sure to follow Kylie. 14,500 followers. Let's freaking go. So make sure to give her a follow on there. She's always posting Chief stuff or trolling around about another team losing or something. It's always engaging and entertaining, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. Yes, I appreciate you guys watching with us, and I love interacting and meeting new Chiefs fans and getting to know everybody on there. It's been so fun. It's just like such a great community on there, and everybody's just, it's so great when we all root for the same team. You know, it's just, and it's such a fun time to be a Chiefs fan. So it's really great. So follow me on there. If you do follow me and you notice I don't follow you back, please let me know. I do try to follow back. So just let me know. But anyway, it's been so fun. I love being here. This is a great time. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
So Kylie, what we're going to do is see you next week after the Chiefs are 2-1.
Correct.
And we'll get to celebrate another W. Maybe even have a beer. We need to have a beer next time. I think it's been 3 episodes with no beer. So we might have to change that next time.
That's a shame. Yeah, we got to change that. Especially if we come out 2-1.
Yeah, we will. We'll change. We'll do a celebratory any Chiefs W. We'll do a celebratory brewski or something. Definitely.
I love it. I love
Heck
it.
yep. Appreciate y'all. And until next time, let's go. Show this freaking belt.
How about those cheese?